Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Are you able to listen? Very happy to invite you for our ISKCON Vrindavan official community first Zoom session by our beloved president of ISKCON Vrindavan Temple, His Grace Pancagauda Prabhuji. And today we are having a very nice session about the importance of listening Srila Prabhupada books. So before that, I would like to take a couple of minutes to introduce our dear Prabhuji. And basically, he is from America. He was born in the Mediterranean, Macedonia. Then he came to Buffalo, New York, with his family in 1961. He was studying music at the University of Buffalo. Then in 1975, he came in contact with the devotees in Buffalo, New York itself, and was fortunate enough to see and spend few days with Srila Prabhupada in Washington, D.C. in 1976. He served in the Miami, Florida temple for book distribution, and he was also temple president in the year 1976 till 1993. And he moved to Vrindavan in 1993 as a vice president, and he was a vice president until 2000. And from 2009, he is serving as a temple president of ISKCON Vrindavan. Most of you guys might be familiar with Prabhuji. So in a couple of minutes, we will be hearing the precious words from Prabhuji's lotus mouth. And thank you, first of all, for joining everybody. We hope to have a very nice session with all of you. If you have any questions, please feel free to share in the chat section with the admins. And at the last, you can also ask the questions directly with the Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for being here. Very happy to see to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Some years ago, just before around COVID time, I was recording things I liked when I was reading the Bhagavatam. Then I thought, let me just start reading all Prabhupada's books and record them. So in the future, for those who are going here and there, and maybe it's convenient to listen, could hear the Bhagavatam. And all the other books are related actually to Srimad Bhagavatam, because the Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of the Supreme Lord. And that's what's upholding religious principles for Kali Yuga. It's not simply a book, it's Krishna personally, directly speaking to Lord Brahma, the creator of this universe and millions of universes, for the benefit of the conditioned souls, to have an opportunity to come back home, back to the spiritual world. Namam Vishnu Vadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deshatarane. So we're very fortunate to have a pure devotee, a direct link to the Guru Parampara. When Lord Krishna revealed to Lord Brahma, because Lord Brahma performed tapasya and austerities, and Lord Krishna was very pleased. Krishna created everything, the whole universe, not only one universe, but millions of universes that clumped together is what's called a Mahatattva. And this Mahatattva is only 1/4 of the Lord's creation. 3/4 is the transcendental world, Vaikuntha Loka, the Loka of Vrindavan. And most of the living entities are Nitya Siddha, eternally liberated souls who are attached with love and devotion to the Lord in many different reciprocal relationships. But us curious souls who somehow wanted to experience being the enjoyers have come to the material world, this temporary world, and the Lord incarnates in various universes, in various planets, in various forms, in order to help the conditioned souls to reawaken their forgetfulness of our love for the Lord. And this is something very special. I highlighted a few verses which are glorifying the Bhagavatam. It is the duty of the saint to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from a self-realized soul and not be duped by professional men. One should continue such hearing till the end of one's life, so that one can actually have the transcendental association of the Lord and thus be liberated simply by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Not that we pick up any book or any translation or think, well, there are many gurus, there are many ways. You know, this is our good fortune. No one is like Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, Shaktivation, incarnation of the Lord, empowered for the purpose of helping us to understand our identity and relationship with the Lord. Maharaj Parikshit had no more than 7 days to live, but for others, Maharaj Parikshit personally recommends that one hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly, nityam, always, one's own effort, and with serious devotion also. That will help one to see the Lord Sri Krishna manifested in one's heart within no time. So the words of Srimad Bhagavatam, the words of the pure devotee, have the special dust of the lotus feet of the Lord that will stimulate our desire to leave this temporary material world, to recognize there's no happiness in this world, that is from the highest planet, Brahmaloka, even the bodies of demigods, the powers, mystic powers, be able to fly from planet to planet and perform so many magical activities. One is not interested in living in this material world because it's not our home. We're like a fish out of water. We'll never be happy. Persons who hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and are always taking the matter very seriously will have the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, manifested in their hearts within a short time. So these are words of the Lord Brahma, Narada Muni, Vyasadeva, Madhavacharya, Madhavendra Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the six Goswamis, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We have an unbroken chain of disciplic succession. And this is the key to hear and associate with the pure devotees. And by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, by reading Bhagavad-Gita, by reading the words of the Supreme Lord, it's cleansing the heart. Shrinvata Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto Yabdrani Vidunoti Suhritsutam. Practically destroying all the dirt in the heart. Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadevagni Nirvapanam. So this chanting of the Lord's holy name, reading the pastimes of the Lord, hearing the pastimes of the Lord, associating with devotees, this is all devotional service. Right now, everyone who's listening is performing devotional service to the Lord. But also, when inspired by the words of the pure devotee, we should render service in a mood of humility, because the service rendered gives pleasure to the pure devotee, our guru, and by pleasing the pure devotee, Krishna is very pleased. The sound incarnation of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Soul, that is Srimad Bhagavatam, enters into the heart of a self-realized devotee, sits on the lotus flower of his loving relationship, and thus cleanses the dust of material associations such as lust, anger, and hankering. Thus it acts like autumnal rains upon pools of muddy water. Our consciousness is muddied by lust, by anger, by hankering. Everyone's hankering for something in this material world. We all are looking for happiness. We're looking for love. Today is also Valentine's Day. Everyone's looking for love. So our Valentine, Krishna, he's our lovable object, because that love is never destroyed. It never deteriorates. The body is temporary. It manifests, it stays for some time, grows, dwindles, and dies. But the eternal soul, our true identity, is the only solution to the suffering that we're undergoing. By sincere efforts to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, one realizes his constitutional relationship with the Lord in the transcendental humor of servitude, friendship, parental affection, or conjugal love. And by such self-realization, one becomes situated at once in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Not only were all the pure devotees like Narada self-realized souls, but they were engaged in preaching work automatically by spiritual impetus. And thus they delivered many poor souls entangled in material modes. They become so powerful because they sincerely followed the Bhagavatam principles. By regularly hearing and worshiping, by such activities, by such actions, the accumulated material lust, etc., becomes cleansed by the personal endeavor of the Lord within the heart. The Lord is always within the heart of the living being, but he becomes manifested by one's devotional service. So Lord Krishna, Paramatma, super souls in the heart, in my heart, in your heart, in every living entity, in every atom, the Lord is there. But the Lord manifests himself, reveals himself by this process of devotional service, by performing. And what is the best devotional service? As Hiranyakashipu asked his son, my dear Prahlad, what have you learned from your teachers? Oh, best of the demons, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanavedanam. Hearing, chanting, remembering Vishnu, and serving the Lord. These devotional practices are being taught in Srimad Bhagavatam by hearing of Shukadev Goswami, hearing of Parikshit Maharaj, also Sutta Goswami and the sages of Naimisharanya, talks between Vidura, Maitreya, so many beautiful prayers by Lord Shiva, by Daksha, by King Chitraketu, and so many stories, actual historical stories, not just made up, fabricated, of Puranjana, King Prachinabhati, a great emperor. But Narada Muni, he also delivered a hunter. So it doesn't mean that one has to be a great king to receive the knowledge, or has to be PhD, college graduate, or have great fine-tuned intelligence. Anyone, whether you're Shudra, less than Shudra, or a Brahmana, everyone, Atma Ramascha Munayo, even those who are self-realized, are attracted by this process of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, of hearing the glories of the Lord. They're never satiated. They never say, oh, no, enough, I'm getting tired. No, they become more and more enlivened. When Parikshit Maharaj was asking Shukadeva Goswami so many questions, he became enlivened. He said, this is good for all humanity. This is good for everyone, because everyone is suffering. Everyone is forced to grow old and forced to die a miserable death. We may think that, oh, when I get old, I'll worry about it. But I don't know what happened. 50 years later, I'm old already. By the time you wake up and you look at your life, you'll see, where did it all go? Where did my life go? Devotional service to the Lord with specific attention for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and always is the best recommended method for liberation from the clutches of illusion. Just imagine, it's the best method. That yes, I have a fixed my time. Like every day, I have a fixed time for eating, You have a fixed time for recreation or fixed time for work. So make a fixed time that every day I want to hear the Bhagavad Purana in a systematic, chronological order. Let me start from the beginning. Let me hear Janmad Yasya Yatom Vayaditratasya Shu Vigyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Yadikavaye Mayanti Yatsuryaha. This is a beautiful revelation from the Lord through the lips of Vyasadeva and Narada Muni and Shukadeva Goswami. How fortunate we can be, instead of reading the nonsense literature of mental speculators, philosophers, psychologists, and humanitarian workers, and people, with laureate, some big PhD degrees. This is all mental speculation. The Lord is free from mistakes, from illusions, from cheating, from imperfect senses. One who has the frailties of human discrepancy of imperfect senses, cheating propensity, making mistakes, and being illusioned, he cannot present what is the truth, what is the ultimate goal, even though he may be a great poet and try to interpret the Bhagavad-Gita or the 4 Chatur Shlokis from the Bhagavatam. They have no clue or idea of what is the ultimate absolute truth. Yes, devotional service to the Lord with specific attention for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and always is the best recommended method for liberation from clutches of illusion. So Maharaj Parikshit, being a typical devotee, not only satisfied by confirming the importance of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from the representative of Brahmaji by disciplic succession, but he is still more anxious to establish the philosophical basis of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is a great science, and all we need is to give oral reception, submissive, humble oral reception, and also reading. When I was in New Naimisharanya, Miami Temple, we'd go on Sankirtan. So before Sankirtan, I would find a quiet place and I would read Bhagavad-Gita or read Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion. So I would have a sufficient energy and strength on Sankirtan. In the evening, Krishna book, beautiful. And the one day we took back from Sankirtan, the whole day I'd be we had 10-acre forest, New Naimisharanya, 80 mango trees. I would walk in the mango grove with Bhagavatam and the sun shining through the trees, reading about New Naimisharanya, reading about the purpose and goal of life, and you would be transported. Srimad Bhagavatam would transport you from the material, mundane platform to the spiritual platform. And this is something that's, you can't just say, oh, let me read this book. Maybe I should read about the book of the dead, Tibetan dead, or the Buddha philosophy, or let me read this one or that. Many scriptures are there. Many philosophies are there. The Vedas are very extensive, Puranas and the different itihasas, and all the great sages have studied and accumulated all this knowledge and boiling it down. And Lord Chaitanya, Krishna himself, advented in this age of Kali, Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Jagnai Sankirtan Prayar Yajanti Hisamedasaha. And he concluded that Sankirtan Yagya, hearing and chanting the Lord's holy name, is the Yagya for this age, the essence. And his direct disciple, the 6 Goswamis, they scrutinizingly studied all the revealed scriptures. Now, we shouldn't think that, oh, maybe I should, read. There's so many books to read. I should read all of these books. We have the Bhagavatam. We have the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We have the Nectar of Devotion. We have the Krishna book. So much literature is there. So much study is available. And simply by taking shelter and having faith and our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, that he always says, I have no qualification. My only qualification is that I have firm and great faith in my spiritual master. So Prabhupada was very chaste, full of gratitude for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. By the way, the government issued a nice stamp for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and also a coin. And now everyone of any intelligence can recognize that this Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, the teachings that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati on behalf of Bhakti Vinod Thakur and the Goswamis and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada being the Acharya, he also scrutinizingly gave us this message of Srimad Bhagavatam in such a compact, on a silver platter. He created International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He gave us the Mangal Arati, the beautiful deity worship, Tulsi Puja, prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, chanting of japa together, sit properly, chanting with Prabhupada. Gave us Sankirtan, because this is our duty. Narada Muni is preaching, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was preaching, Srila Prabhupada was traveling all over the world preaching the message of Godhead, because there's no hope in the material world of any happiness or success without taking shelter of the pure devotee, rendering service, inquiring submissively, and all answers are available in Srimad Bhagavatam. And by using your tongue, your eyes to read, your ears to hear, your tongue to vibrate the sound vibration, it just, utilizing all your senses in the Lord's service like Ambarish Maharaj. And the Lord very quickly becomes manifest within our hearts. The specific activities of the Lord are mentioned, and one should know that the activities of the Lord and the Lord himself are identical due to being on the absolute plane. Thus, to hear the activities of the Lord means to associate with the Lord directly. And association with the Lord directly means purification from material contamination. The mind is often restless and always thinking of ways, how can I enjoy this? What can I do for my own enjoyment? Or maybe becomes a little bit lazy. Oh, I'll read later on, or I'll listen later on. I'm not in the mood. But look forward to hearing, follow it, hear it, chant it, and the results are there. Srimad Bhagavatam can be legitimately discussed only among the devotees of the Lord. Others don't have a taste. If we don't have a taste. Even Lord Chaitanya was admitting, Nam Namakari Bahudani Jasarva Shakti Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durudaivam Idrisham Ehajani Nanuraka. Although the Lord has given all his potencies and his holy names, and there are no hard and fast rules, still I am not attracted. But just like a jaundiced person who has a disease takes sugar candy, it tastes bitter because of the disease, but as we continue taking our medicine, it becomes sweeter and sweeter. So as Bhagavad-Gita was authoritatively discussed between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, the Lord and the devotee respectively, certainly Srimad Bhagavatam, which is like the postgraduate study of Bhagavad-Gita, can also be discussed between the scholars and devotees like Shukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Pariksit. Otherwise, the real taste of the nectar cannot be relished. Shukadeva Goswami was pleased with Maharaj Pariksit because he was not at all tired of hearing the topics of the Lord. It was more and more anxious to hear them on and on with interest. Foolish interpreters unnecessarily tackle the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam when they have no access to the subject matter. there's no use in non-devotees meddling with the two topmost Vedic literatures. And therefore, Shankaracharya did not touch Srimad Bhagavatam for commentation. In his commentation on Bhagavad-Gita, Sripad Shankaracharya accepted Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But later on, he commented from the impersonalist view. But being conscious of his position, he did not comment on the Srimad Bhagavatam. So often in Prabhupada's books, we hear about voidism and personalism, and we say, Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Prachaya, Nirvishesha, Shunyavadi, Pascha, Chadishutari. Impersonalists, voidists, it's the last snare of Maya, that we're all one, we're also God. God is God, the Ridhar Narayan. You know, there's that everyone can become, we're all one consciousness. Once we get free of our entanglement, we merge into the supreme super consciousness and become one entity, and God is impersonal. But this is refuted throughout by Achintya Beta Beta Tattva Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the great acharyas in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya have retained that Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karna Karma. Krishna is the cause of all causes, eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. We're also full of eternity, bliss and knowledge, but we're tiny. We're a drop of the ocean. Krishna is the great ocean. We're a spark of the fire, and Krishna is the blazing fire. Just think about how wonderful this universe is, how that one sun globe radiates heat throughout the universe. I mean, who's maintaining such a fire? This is actually a reflection of the Brahma Jyoti, of the Lord's personal effulgence, and is actually radiating heat and life and energy throughout the universe. But the mental speculators, voidists, and atheists want to give some word jugglery as to why there is no God or supreme intelligent being behind the whole complex, very beautiful material nature, which is a reflection coming from the Supreme Lord. So Srila Shukadeva Goswami was protected by Lord Krishna, and therefore he is known as Brahma Ratna. And Srimad Parikshit Maharaj was protected by Vishnu, and thus he is known as Vishnu Ratna. As devotees of the Lord, they're always protected by the Lord. It is clear also in this connection that a Vishnu Ratna should hear Srimad Bhagavatam from a Brahma Ratna, and no one else, because others misrepresent the transcendental knowledge and thus spoil one's valuable time. When Prabhupada, especially when he came back to India, he was telling the devotees, not to intimately associate with so many people who are presenting Bhagavad philosophy. Not that Prabhupada was overly possessive or only wanted to have, follow him. Prabhupada never took credit. He always gave all credit to his spiritual master, the great acharyas. And he always, humble, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, make me dance, I'm your puppet. Krishna's praying to Krishna. Prabhupada's praying to Krishna that somehow you brought me to this horrible place. How will they ever take up this process of bhakti, devotional service? I have no ability. If you empower my words to have an effect and meaning to convince the conditioned souls, only you can do that. You make me dance as you like. I'm your puppet. So being the puppet of Krishna, the puppet of Srila Prabhupada, we are protected. Krishna's protecting his devotees. Prabhupada's giving us guidance. Prabhupada, he's a manifestation of the super soul. The Lord reveals to him who we are, what is our desire and ambition in life. And we're fortunate enough to have Prabhupada as our father, our grandfather, our savior. And he's a representation of the Lord. He's non-different. The devotee is non-different. The guru is non-different than the Krishna. So we should, every morning we're saying Sakshat Hari Penasramasta Shastir. Uttastataba Jateva Sabi Kintu Brabhurya Priyeva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda. The perfect process is to accept Lord Vasudeva as the supreme in everything. The best perfection is culturing knowledge, is to surrender unto him because he is the source of everything. Only in that conception can one get rid of the misconception of I and mine. Both Bhagavad-Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam confirm it. Srila Vyasadeva has specifically contributed to the illusion living entities, the science of God, and the process of bhakti-yoga in this great literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, and the conditioned soul should fully take advantage of this great science. We have clear direction, very good roadmap. Imagine being on a boat plying on the ocean. Now, if the ocean is calm, all is well, but a little turbulence and we're in extreme danger. And one who finds himself in the ocean with no shelter, no boat, no lifesaver, he's going to drown. And we're all drowning in this material world. Although there may be some reflection of happiness. Oh, I have my wife, I have my children, I have good job, good bank balance, nice car, and the latest iPhone. Everything is good. It's not good because the body's deteriorating and everything will be taken away. At the time of death, everything is finished, and everyone will die in this world. But that's not our constitutional position. We're not meant for death. We're meant for life, eternal life. We have that eternal life, but we've forgotten. And the jewel of Krishna consciousness that Prabhupada throwing us from the boat of ISKCON, the life preserver, and if we're fortunate enough, we'll take hold of the life preserver and stay on the boat. ISKCON has so many faults. There are so many people who maybe have fallen short of pure devotional service. But we should not be thinking, oh, on the battlefield, so many people got injured and many died. I'm going to give up the fight. You cannot give up the fight because there's no solution to this repetition of birth and death other than awakening our love for Krishna and going back home, back to the spiritual world. And the best boat, the best transcendental adventure is the process of taking up bhakti-yoga. So this is the great literature that Srila Vyasadeva specifically contributed to the illusioned entities, the science of God, and the process of bhakti-yoga in his great literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. And the conditioned soul should fully take advantage of this great science. Brahma was then told by the Lord the gist of Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 original verses. Thus, Srimad Bhagavatam is not a creation of mental speculators. The sound of Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental, and the resonance of Srimad Bhagavatam is as good as that of the Vedas. Thus, the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of both the Lord and the living entity. Regular reading or hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam is also performance of bhakti-yoga, and one can attain the highest perfection simply by the association of Srimad Bhagavatam. Both Shukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit attained perfection through the medium of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is right from the Bhagavatam. These are words that we should have no doubt. We should have great joy and happiness that I found a solution to the problem of repetition of birth and death, of all the misery and suffering of this world. Simply, I have to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, I have to chant, and I have to engage in service to let others know about this beautiful gift. There's no difference between the Lord and sound vibration coming from him. Even though he's not personally present, the best way of understanding is to accept such divine instruction, and Brahma, the prime spiritual master of everyone, is the living example of this process of receiving transcendental knowledge. The potency of transcendental sound is never minimized because the vibrator is apparently absent. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad-Gita or any revealed scripture in the world is never to be accepted as an ordinary mundane sound without transcendental potency. Of course, there are rules and regulations we have to follow. It's inconvenient. No one likes to restrict themselves or get up early in the morning, take a shower, and perform the duties of Brahminical culture, staying clean. What to speak of cleaning our mind, cleaning our words, our activities, our behavior. The more we read Srimad Bhagavatam, the more we try to serve the spiritual master, what happens? Yes, yasti bhaktir bhagavat kinchana sarvar gunais tatra samasate sura harav bhaktasya kato mahagunat. These are the godly qualities. They manifest in one who has faith in the Lord, who serves the Lord, and who's hearing and chanting regularly. Then naturally will become mindful and conscientious of what to do and what not to do, and how to behave and how to appreciate others, how to see the Lord in everyone's heart, how to be tolerant. Titikshava, karunika, suhrida, sarvadehanam, ajata shatrava santa, sadhava sadhubhushana. Titikshava, very tolerant. Karunika, very merciful. Not that we have mercy, but in the sense by giving others Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-Gita, introducing to Krishna consciousness, then you're a friend to all living entities. There's no question about that. The final conclusion, therefore, is that the glories of the Lord must be always and everywhere proclaimed. One should hear about his glories, one should chant about his glories, and one should always remember his glories, because that is the highest perfectional stage of life. As far as fruitive work is concerned, it is limited to an enjoyable body. As the yoga is concerned, it is limited to acquirement of mystic power. As far as empiric philosophy is concerned, it is limited to the attainment of transcendental knowledge. As far as transcendental knowledge is concerned, it is limited to attainment of salvation. Even if they are adopted, there's every chance of discrepancies in discharging the particular type of functions. But adoption of the transcendental devotional service of the Lord has no limit, nor is there fear of falling down. The process automatically reaches the final stage by the grace of the Lord. In the preliminary stage of devotional service, there's an apparent requisite for knowledge. But in the higher stage, there's no necessity of such knowledge. The best and guaranteed path of progress is therefore engagement in bhakti-yoga, pure devotional service. Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is pure devotional service. Chanting the holy name and serving the Vaishnavas, serving the order of the spiritual master, this is pure devotional service. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam means consciousness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the sound representation of the Lord as much as the Bhagavad-Gita is. Thus, the conclusion is that Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of the Lord in which the Lord and his abode are perfectly realized. Srimad Bhagavatam gives this information, the supreme Vedic literature. It was personally instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to Brahmaji, so that the leader of the living entities might broadcast the message to all in the universe in order to teach the supreme knowledge of bhakti-yoga. Brahmaji in his turn instructed Narada, his beloved son, the same message of Srimad Bhagavatam, and Narada in turn taught it to Vyasadeva, who again taught it to Shukadeva Goswami. Through Shukadeva Goswami's grace and by the mercy of Maharaj Parikshit, we are all given Srimad Bhagavatam, perpetually to learn the science of the absolute personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. So there's so much more, so many wonderful shlokas and quotations. I'm actually amazed that practically every page of Srimad Bhagavatam is a newer and newer realization, and the prayers which are being offered to Krishna, Krishna's offering to Dhruva Maharaj, you take a benediction. No, no, no. Although he wanted a kingdom greater than his father's, greater than Lord Brahma's, he had a lot of desires. He went to the forest as a little boy and performed great austerities. And the Lord said, now take a benediction. No, no, I was looking for broken pieces of glass, but now I've achieved everything. I have your devotional service. Prahlad Maharaj said, no, why you don't try and tempt me. My father, Hiranyakashipu, he took over the kingdom of heaven, and he had all facilities for enjoyment. I only want your pure devotional service. And he was actually looking for a benediction for his father. Please give him liberation. And he wanted to serve his Guru Maharaj, Narada Muni. So many examples are there throughout the Bhagavatam that we can relate to our own lives, how to disentangle ourselves from this dangerous life of material existence. All the anxieties due to this suffering is going to be rectified, going back home, back to Godhead. That should be our object in life. Stop the repetition of birth and death. It's a good body or bad body, but the intelligence of human life, and one should desire to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and glorify Srila Prabhupada. Anyway, that's something, a few things we discussed today, but daily look forward to your reading and progress and chanting, being curious to know where it's all taking us. And I find reading out loud is good because you're forced to hear, and the tongue and your sleepiness doesn't set in. If you feel sleepy, take a 10-minute snap. Lay down, set your timer, 15 minutes, and you'll get up refreshed. And then again, try to absorb what we're reading, what we're hearing, and situate yourself in the service. Whether you're brahmachari, I was brahmachari for 8-9 years. Also now 40 years married. I have 2 sons, but we're all trying to become Krishna conscious. So it doesn't matter if your family life, vanaprastha, sannyas, the varnashram system was created by Krishna to help us according to our time, place, and circumstance and our nature of our desires, so that we can work our way through this encagement of material existence. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
I want to leave a little time for if there are any questions or comments. Thank you for the opportunity to say something, and I hope you tap into the reading material of the audiobooks. If it's of value to you, if you can appreciate it, and utilize it for your purposes. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, dear Prabhuji, for the wonderful session. As it is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.3, Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam, sukhmukhad amrud sayudam, pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam, muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. So listening from, it's coming from Sukhdev Goswami's nectarian mouth. So if you guys would like to listen Prabhuji's audiobook, you can also join our Telegram channel. Right now we are having more than 4,000 participants in that, and it's growing day by day. So we are just sharing the link in the group, in the Zoom chat. And if any of you having any questions, please feel free to share. You can also unmute yourself or can type in the chat. The chat is also open for everyone.
I think everyone's happy. Look at, they're all so blissful.
Now you can unmute yourself. Yeah, Sure.
This session has been recorded as well, so in the
Yeah.
future, if others would like to hear a little something of the glories of Bhagavatam, we can share that again.
Sure, dear Prabhuji. So any questions before taking off? Shivam. Okay. Sure, Prabhuji.
May I ask Prabhuji, Dandavats?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavats. Prabhuji, I wanted to ask, what is the difference in outcome if one reads for a certain period or one hears for a certain period? Is there any beneficial difference or drawbacks?
Well, you have Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. So hearing is important. It's very, very important. It's the most important aspect is, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. We're approach a pure devotee and asking submissively, and then hearing from him. And then we want to repeat, we want to speak. So by reading out loud, simultaneously you're doing Shravanam Kirtanam. You're hearing, and in one sense you're chanting. Because when Haridas Thakur was asking the Lord, how will everyone be liberated? By loud chanting of the Lord's holy name. Even the living entities, the plants, there's living entities everywhere. And so by reciting Bhagavatam, in one sense, it's a little extra work, but you're preaching as well. And there's no one more dear to the Lord than one who's preaching this message of Godhead. So just imagine if you're, and plus hearing and then speaking, and then you'll remember, you'll be able to again repeat what you've heard. And that's what we are. We're like trying to become like transcendental parrots, that we're hearing and repeating the message of Godhead. So the benefit's the same. It's on that transcendental platform.
Padmanetra Nitai Prabhuji is asking, how can I become a servant of servant?
Servant of the servant. Yes, there's a nice book by Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Servant of the Servant. So Lord, the pure devotee is the servant God, and Krishna is the served God. And we're serving, just like Srila Prabhupada is serving his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, who's serving his Guru Maharaj. It's all, I say, connected to the teamwork. So the best way to become servant is to submissively hear from your spiritual master, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, because all gurus, all acharyas will lead you to the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gita, and Srila Prabhupada is a transparent medium for that purpose. And the sincere followers of Prabhupada, who are also taking on disciples, they're also following in Prabhupada's footsteps. So becoming servant of the servant is learning how to be humble and how to respect all living beings. And all these good qualities develop as you read and chant from Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gita. Every day you're learning, every day you're hearing. And when you see your lust, your anger, your greed manifesting, you can recognize it and minimize it, cleanse it. So it's like self-awareness. That's what the science of self-realization, self-awareness. We're becoming daily more self-realized by the hearing and chanting. That's how you become a servant of the servant, by developing these godly qualities of humility and respect for all other living beings. Naturally, your godly qualities will manifest.
Beautiful. I hope
Thank
you
you.
got the answer. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Guruji. Dandavat.
Yeah.
Shiva wants to say something.
Yeah.
Shivam.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Dharan Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hearing you live after a long time, Guruji, it was a bliss. And Also, I used to listen. I regularly listen to you on through your audio lectures. So I wanted to know, Prabhuji, like how to fix ourselves like through consistency. How actually I admire you, Prabhu. Like how you are consistent. Like I always see like around 7 o'clock there is a notification for your audio lecture every day. It's every day like 7 o'clock. So how you
Well,
this consistency and how we can actually achieve in our life, because it's really hard to because there is something other is important, and then how you manage things and you fix consistency.
well, I just found a schedule for myself that works. Get up at 3. Sometimes if I'm tired, 3:30, and I want to go for Samadhi Artik with Prabhupada because Prabhupada's there, and singing Mangal Artik is very important. Praying to the spiritual master, and then we have our second Mangal Artik, Vibhavari Shesha, Krishna Balaram, Radhashami Sinagornitai, Tulsi Puja. So I chant a few rounds before that, and a couple rounds after that. Then I come back. I try to record sometime between 6 and 7, because the early morning hours are very conducive. Brahma Muhurta, of course, is ideal for chanting your japa as well, but I'm seeing this as a service, that if I can record and daily send out a message where people can look forward to receiving something, the message of Godhead, this is very, very beneficial. So imagine, you got up, you chanted, you try to worship Prabhupada and the deities and devotees and the beautiful prayers, and just read a Bhagavatam, 1 hour of nectar. Now you're going to greet the deities, Krishna Balaram, and so beautiful. And then Guru Puja, chanting with all devotees in Kirtan, doing the Yagya, the Yuga Dharma Yagya, then sitting in Bhagavatam class, then sitting with the devotees in Kirtan in front of the deities. Although there are many duties, meetings, so many responsibilities, generally best to prioritize, and people will learn your schedule, and we have to work around that. So having a strong schedule for sadhana is very, very important, and regulation is very important, because this is vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jiva vegam, udara pasta vegam. We have to control the tongue, the belly, the genitals, and everything. It all comes from regulation. And then, we have to do our duties in between our services and different distractions that may come our way. If we have a regulated hearing and chanting and serving time, it's best. I try to keep it steady.
Another question is from Sarthak Prabhuji. He is saying, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for delivering such a wonderful class. There are 2 questions from him. Prabhuji, how can we overcome our lower nature and inclinations so that we can advance in Krishna consciousness quickly?
Akama sarvo kamava moksha kamo daraditi vrena bhakti-yogena yajeta purusham param. Was there more? You had more of the question? Or
Yes. There is one more question. Another one. How to improve our sincerity, dedication, determination, faith, enthusiasm, and overall seriousness in bhakti?
Right. Well, these are all very relevant questions, because we all have those lower natures which we're dealing with. And whether we're full of lust or have no desires, or we're desiring liberation, whatever condition we find ourselves in, we're taking shelter of our spiritual doctor, Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada's given us this Vedic literature in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna book, Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it's a steady regimen that we're avoiding the activities which are forcing us to go to another body and go to the lowering ourselves to maybe even losing human life and going to the hellish condition. And by taking our medicine of chanting the holy name, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in particular, by calling out to Krishna, feeling I have fallen into this world. Please engage me in your service. And the reading of Bhagavatam and service and association is all meant to lead us to the chanting of the Lord's name. But we have desires, we have shortcomings, contaminations. Yes, all that may be there. But if you steady the mind by a regulated dose of medicine, then the pool will clear. There'll be transparency. You'll be able to see beyond the muddy currents of our desires and our different difficulties that we're experiencing. It says naturally our heart will be cleansed and the Lord will manifest himself. So we'll think, well, how can that happen? I have so many other desires and so much shortcoming. Krishna, he reciprocates. As we surrender to Krishna, he rewards us accordingly. And not that we're looking for rewards, but we do want to get free from our entanglement and our suffering in this world. And that it may take some time, or it can happen very quickly. It depends on one's intensity of purpose. So keep applying yourselves and keep trying. We have to just keep on trying. You know, when you're learning to do a bicycle, sometimes you fall over and brush your knee a little bit or hurt your elbow, get back up and again. And after a while, you learn how to maneuver so you don't fall down every few minutes, and you'll be able to ride almost spontaneously. So that spontaneity, this Raganuga Bhakti, will awaken. Right now we're in Vaidhi Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti. We're in the process of hearing and chanting under regulation and rules and regulations. But that has to be there. It's almost like keeping us on track so we don't deviate this way or that way. Don't let the mind speculate. Just follow the Guru, follow the teaching of Bhagavatam, stay in the association of devotees, and remain humble. Keep your head down. Remain humble.
Beautiful. Lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. Yeah. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and at your lotus feet, Prabhu. This is the very first time I have got the opportunity to interact with the sadhu like you, and I do not have any words for how grateful I am. My heart is jumping up and down and feeling in ecstasy that what Srila Prabhupada has given us, the formula of getting out from this entanglement, from this birth, death, and old age and disease cycle. I'm so very grateful and fortunate, Prabhu, what you have spoken, and it has gone right inside my heart. I'm very, very thankful, Prabhu, and please accept my most humble obeisance to your lotus feet, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
This appreciation is important. You know, we should appreciate with gratitude for Prabhupada what he's given us. It's true. So we're good. We're right on time, you see?
Yeah.
We're very timely.
Sure. Thank you, dear Prabhuji, for joining today, and all dear devotees for giving your precious time for this wonderful session. More sessions will be coming and will be updated in the groups. So please be a part of that. And thank you so very much once again. Have a Krishna conscious day to everybody.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki
jai. His Grace Pancagauda Prabhuji ki jai.
jai. Thank you. Haribo.